right, number 5, fundamental routines. One thing that happened to us during this pandemic is that we kind of lost sight. We got knocked back on our heels and we got out of our disciplines. So in a lot of cases, and this is a chance right now to get back into those disciplines. So making sure that you've got timely, relevant, accurate data at appropriate intervals. And right now, you really need to have a BI tool or a POS that gives you data on a daily, weekly, and period basis. And those should include the hours of the day. So making sure that you've got that data in your hand every day, because as I mentioned, over the next couple of weeks, schedules are going to shift. And it happens every year in September. The cliff comes, we don't think it's going to happen this year because we've had some kind of disruption, and it does. Now, the only thing that I can say is a few years ago when we had the strikes, the teacher strikes, we did see an elongation of that cliff. So rather than it just dropping off the week after Labor Day, as it typically does, or perhaps the next week, it actually elongated a little bit further into September, but ultimately dropped out. And a lot of that has to do with outdoor dining or the weather as well. But for the most part, you're going to need to anticipate that there's going to be a drop, and you need good data to be able to do that. Back to forecasting, make sure that when you have that forecast, you use your daily checkbook. And what that is here's how much cash I have to spend, here's what I can buy. And one of the people that I think was really scrappy when he started up his restaurants told me at one point, people have forgot how to cook. He said, when I started my restaurant, I would go to the refrigerator at the walk-in and I would figure out what I had and I would design my menu around that for the night, rather than simply having to fill up the walk-in and have products sitting around. So using a daily checkbook. So for example, if you have, I'm going to use some easy math here. If you have $20,000 of sales scheduled for the week and you're open for 5 days of that week, you're going to do $4,000 a day. Some of you are saying, boy, wouldn't that be nice again? But $4,000, and let's say you're running a 30% food cost. Your 30% food cost on the $4,000, if let's say half of that was from food and half of it from beverage, say $2,000 worth of food, you have 30%, you have $600 to spend for that day. And that will keep you from building up too much inventory. Now, back to the question that was asked earlier, there may be things if your vendor says, hey, I see a shortage coming on certain products, you may want to stock up a little bit. Just don't get caught with products that are perishable, that you can't store if something happens. Costed schedules are simply that. Before you run any shifts for that week, you are to sit down with your schedule and cost it out. Person by person, how much is it going to cost you and what is your labor going to run that week? And then you track that every day. Who worked? How much did they make? And what did it cost me? With the goal of really keeping the prime cost at 60% or less, I know that's going to raise some eyebrows, but we have plenty of people that are doing that at this point. So you want to keep that prime cost at 60% or less. And if you're at 65, you better make sure that, or 65 or so, you're going to make sure that the rest of your operating expenses are very low and your rent's very low. Because with the sales hit, what's happened is that rent as a percentage of sales, if it's not negotiated, is skyrocketed, and any kind of fixed costs have skyrocketed as well. So utilities, you may notice your utilities are higher as a percentage of sales than they were before, because some of those things you're just keeping the lights on, or your internet's the same, or your telephone's the same. We have several different products that are line items that are fixed. So keeping your prime cost, do not let it seep into the 70s. If it gets 70% or more, you're going to lose money. It's just a fact. There's not enough room in the rest of the P&L to get away with it. So you cannot let your prime costs get into the 70s, and certainly not higher than that, or you'll really lose money. And then meet with your team every week to review sales and expenses and set the budget for the upcoming week. Make sure you're still doing your period reviews, that you're meeting with your team members and you're talking about your financials with them. I know that's dropped off a lot in a lot of cases, but it's time to pick that back up again, so that we can share those great ideas as a team. And then you can ask yourself, do we have a guest traffic, guest average, or efficiency opportunity, or one or more?